He's a fashion photographer, meaning he works alongside many beautiful women in his profession. Stylists, hair and makeup artists, and of course, models. This is actually how we met. I modeled my way through college and he photographed me, after which we became friends and eventually started dating. We have been together now for almost 3 years. I've since stopped modeling, but he is still a photographer. Never once in our relationship has he given me any reason to question his fidelity. With the exception of me, he has never dated or even befriended any of the models he has photographed. That was, until Rachel came into the picture. I've met Rachel. She seems like a fun chick, the type of girl who draws a lot of positive attention just by entering a room. She's beautiful, but her personality really shines through. She makes you feel like you're her best friend when you're talking to her. A very cool person through and through. That said, I'm not the only one who feels this way. My boyfriend also adores Rachel. The first time he photographed her, he stayed late at the studio and discussed ideas for their next shoot for nearly 3 hours. He was actually late for a night out with me because of it. But he's always had terrible time management, so I didn't think anything of it. The lateness has now become a steady, recurring factor in their shoots together. They hang out long after the stylists and makeup artists leave the studio. They also text a lot, and he's always smiling to himself and laughing when he reads the messages she sends him. At first he would show them to me and try to include me in on all the fun, without me asking. But he abruptly stopped doing that around 2 weeks ago. He tilts his phone away from me now when Rachel messages him. I'm not the jealous type, but if my BF had a history of doing this with the other models, I'd let it slide. The fact that he is only like this with Rachel, and me, I suppose, makes me wary of what might have transpired between them. Rachel herself has stopped talking to me. We used to communicate and have an easy, casual friendship via IG and Snapchat, but she pretty much ignores me now. Guilty conscience? I don't know. The real kicker is, my boyfriend now has a photo of Rachel as the wallpaper on his phone. He's apparently proud of the concept and the editing, and claims it has nothing to do with Rachel herself. Which is totally believable, but doesn't sit right with me. I told him that and he told me I was being irrational. Rachel is single, by the way. She and her BF broke up around 3 weeks ago. I really don't want to fall into the jealous GF trope, but what else am I to think? I don't want to make crazy demands and accuse my BF of cheating on me. Even emotionally, but he really does seem to be fond of this girl in a way that really hurts me. He has other female friends and he doesn't act that way with them. He's capable of being friendly with a girl without flirting or acting suspicious, but with Rachel it's different. He has slowly become very attached to her and I feel like I'm losing him. I have expressed this to him a couple of times, but he always tells me I have nothing to worry about and that he and Rachel are just kindred when it comes to photography. The long nights, constant texting, and phone wallpaper mean nothing. Oh, by the way, she's practically naked in the photo and it wasn't taken for any sort of publication, just for fun. Am I being irrational? Unreasonable? How would you feel in this situation? What would you do? Update. My photographer boyfriend has been growing very close to one of his models, and acting dismissive of my concerns regarding their work relationship. He has a practically naked photo of her as his phone wallpaper. WTF am I supposed to think? He and I are meeting for lunch in an hour. He confessed. I'm kind of a mess right now, but I'm lucky enough to have an amazing support system and a clear head. That's all I really wanted out of this unfortunate situation. My boyfriend, ex-boyfriend, has never taken nude or even partially nude photos of me. Although I modeled in high school and university, my primary focus has always been stage acting. He took my headshots. That's how we met. Not that it really changes anything. Just a bit of insight, I guess. When we were younger and when the relationship was newer, I would accompany him to his shoots all the time. But my own career is very time-consuming nowadays. I know of multiple model/photographer relationships where they accompany each other to every shoot. And I've nothing against doing that, but I personally would rather just trust that my SO is on their best behavior. Obviously what happened here kind of squashes that, but I stand by it. If I have to be there in order to make sure my SO faithful, chances are they'll find other ways to cheat. Okay, now for the good stuff, or I guess, the bad stuff. I met him for lunch Friday afternoon. We went to our favorite sushi joint overlooking the ocean, and I ordered more than I could handle, stuffing my face while trying to decide how to broach the topic of Rachel, but most importantly, our relationship. I went into that meeting with a righteous, ass-kicking speech prepared, but I forgot every word of it almost immediately after we sat down. I guess he could tell there was something on my mind, because he asked me if I was all right, if he had done anything to upset me. Snorts. Yes, Ian, you've upset me very much, actually. As soon as I gathered the confidence to look him in the eyes, I point blank asked him, "What's going on between you and Rachel?" His mouth flew open as if he were completely and utterly taken aback by the implication, but I cut him off with, "Do not bullshit me." I tried my best not to let anger get the best of me. I really did. I wanted to stay cool, calm, and collected like so many women on this sub. You know the ones. Those intense stories of cheating husbands wherein the wife takes to relationships, garners a ton of support, and then updates us later with a well-constructed storybook post detailing the evidence she has collected against him and the meeting she had with her uncle or sibling, who just so happens to be a divorce lawyer. Yeah, I'm not a badass like that. I wish I were. But I'm honestly just an overly emotional doormat, and I knew going into this meeting that I was either going to cry or gouge his eyes out with my mind. Because I had somewhere to be later, I took a hard left and got super angry. He could see it in me, the anger bubbling over. The people in the restaurant were starting to stare at us, too. In order to save face, I threw money on the table, with tip, and told him to meet me in the parking lot. If I'd had a switchblade on me, I can't say for certain I wouldn't have channeled my inner jet and beat his to the pavement. Kidding. Totally kidding. We met inside my car. He climbed in after me, his head down as though he were ashamed or, I don't know, guilty? I asked him how, and he explained everything to me. No preamble whatsoever. The moment he met Rachel, he felt some type of way towards her. He couldn't tell whether it was just a silly crush or something more, but he knew she felt it, too. How cute. They kissed the first night they met. The night he nearly stood me up. They had crazy, emotional, forbidden intimate the night she and her boyfriend called it quits. And they've been ever since. He mentioned he has always used a condom with her, but I don't care. I'm getting tested. I should mention Rachel was the one who was broken up with in her previous relationship. I don't know why or how. I didn't ask and I don't care to know. Funnily enough, Ian said he doesn't want to be with Rachel, he wants to be with me. And he even provided text messages to show that he's the one who decided not to pursue anything with her on official grounds. But I told him I give zero about what he wants. And unless he can go // his eyes, he should get the out of my car and erase me from his mind before I erase him. I literally said that. In any case, I went home later that day and drank a lot. My friends and family, and most of Ian's friends and family, have rallied around me in support. I guess he told his mother we broke up and how it happened, because she called me this morning and said she's disgusted with her son and that if I need anything at all, she's always there for me. For real, I'm going to miss his family. They're good people. The best people. This is my first adult breakup, by the way. The type of breakup where you're required not only to break up with your so but with their family and friends, as well. These people you've spent so much time getting to know and growing to love, are suddenly not in your life anymore, and it's, well, it's kind of daunting, really. Daunting and sad and infuriating all at the same time. So, that's the conclusion to this story. That's what happened. P.S. He admitted to cheating with Rachel and then I dumped his. So far, his mother, his teenaged stepbrother, and 2 male friends of his, have reached out to me saying how disgusted, ashamed and embarrassed they are on his behalf. On top of 3 mutual friends. It hasn't been 2 days yet. My husband just got promoted to shift manager 3 weeks ago. This meant that his 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. shift has now been switched 4 a.m. to noon. He isn't a morning person at all, so most mornings he will start huffing and puffing as soon as his alarm goes off, and he will instantly turn on our light and very loudly start looking for his work clothes. Have asked him several times to put clothes out the night before and he has yet to do so. I have also asked him to not turn the light on or be super loud. After all, when I worked at 5 a.m. I made sure to be respectful of him sleeping. So yesterday morning when he got up at 3 a.m. and flipped on the light, I grabbed my stuff and went to the guest room. He came in and asked what I was doing. I told him that since he didn't respect me sleeping at all, that I would be staying in the guest room from now on. He made a comment about the light will only be on for 5 freaking minutes. Which is not true. He turns the light on, finds himself clothes and then goes to take a shower without turning the light off. If I turn the light off, he will come back into the room after the shower and turn it on again to grab his socks and put on his shoes. Which also pisses me off because shoes stay in the kitchen by the door and there's no reason he can't put them on at the table. Anyways, instead of understanding, he just got angry. Mainly because he is not a morning person and he doesn't like dealing with anything in the AM. So, while he was at work yesterday, I moved all my stuff into the guest room. Last night he practically begged me to sleep in the bedroom and promised to let me sleep. Well, this morning he flips on the light again, so I sit up and I'm like, are you kidding me right now? And he says, I'm being quiet. As if that was the only issue. So I went into the guest room and locked the door. I told him I was staying in here from now on despite his efforts to sway me. He thinks I'm overreacting. I work 4 p.m. to midnight. And cute little tidbit, I'm the breadwinner. I make nearly $5 more on my hourly wage. About 5 years ago, my now estranged daughter, Edie, cheated on her boyfriend, Brad, and got together with a guy, Ken. He quickly started isolating her from family and my husband and I from her kids. Brad had moved back to his home state devastated after the breakup. I discussed red flags her. I let her know we are here for her and concerned. Her and Ken suddenly took off and moved to another state. For 5 months, my husband and I worried about her and the kids as we had n//see at all with them. One day CPS showed up at our door with the oldest child. He was obviously injured from abuse that was reported by the school. We had no idea they had moved back to the area. We agreed to take them in. The next 20 months were traumatic, complicated, emotional, and difficult for everyone. Through it we re-established a relationship with the older child's dad, Dan. Daughter failed to comply with her plan and remained with Ken. Dan worked hard to get custody of his child and he gave Edie scheduled weekly phone calls. She called oldest child 2x nothing since. We agreed to permanent custody of youngest. In the process, I put aside the hurt Edie caused and agreed to scheduled weekly phone calls and supervised visits in person when schedules allowed. Legally, any or no contact is at my sole discretion. Ken was not allowed to interfere //attend. Edie quit calling //scheduling visits after 3 months. I reset the call schedule to 1 XEA mon. No calls. 6 months later she calls and wanted me to drop everything for a visit the following day. I couldn't because I had to go back to work. Calls stopped again. She left Ken, has a new BF. I know nothing else about her life / whereabouts. She started calling again about a year ago and I let her know that if she was consistent with her monthly scheduled calls, we would move towards weekly calls again. She called 2 months in a row, skipped a couple months, then called 2 more months in a row. Last one happened to be night before child's birthday. She asked him what he wanted for his birthday. He said a call from her. The next day, as he blew out candles, he said, "My mom is gonna call now." He had the biggest smile on his face. Call never came. He refused my offer to call her. We survived an emotional meltdown. Next month, no call, just a text after with a lame timing excuse as to why and sorry about the birthday call, she didn't feel well. Following month, I get a text that Edie feels ill again, won't be calling. I am beyond frustrated at this point. I have looked past her refusal to rebuild a relationship with us, but when it comes to the kids my heart aches for them. Hey race, where I might be the I responded, parents do not get sick time. We all had COVID recently, including me, and I still took care of the children. If you do not have any time for him once a month, I don't want my time wasted with your excuses. Of course, calls stopped again. For some weird reason my mother-in-law really wants to go into our bedroom whenever she comes over. On one occasion I followed her as she went upstairs. I was going to get something for my child as the bedrooms are upstairs. And she walked past the bathroom on the main floor and up the stairs behind it. She didn't hear me and I caught her walking straight into my room and rifling through bills on my dresser. She denied snooping, even though I'd just watched her do it. And said she was just going to use our bathroom because she couldn't find the other ones. She walked right past the one on the main floor and another one in the upstairs hallway to go into our bedroom. Since that happened, I installed an exterior doorknob that requires a key on our bedroom door and one on the door to our office / spare bedroom. However, she's still always forgetting where the bathroom is and trying the bedroom and office door. This really ticks me off. My husband says that I just get annoyed at this because everything she does drives me crazy, and since we've put locks on the rooms we don't want her in, there isn't really a problem anymore. Well, over the holidays we had my in-laws over for dinner, and before they came I was searching for the bedroom keys. We hadn't used them in a while since we only lock the doors when mother-in-law comes over. My husband told me we didn't need to lock the doors since she wouldn't try to get into the rooms, and I insisted that she would because she loves to snoop. We went back and forth and decided to cover the doorknobs in superfine glitter to see if she tried them. I did this once before when husband didn't believe me about the snooping to prove she'd been in the rooms. Last time she ignored the glitter and we didn't say anything about it, but then my husband couldn't deny that she'd tried to snoop. So this time I covered the knobs in glitter and for the office went a touch further and rigged a little folder of glitter over the door to the office before the in-laws came over. I left it one side unlocked, French doors, and it was set so if you walked in the room you would get covered in glitter. Husband goes out of his way to show his mom the main floor bathroom when they got here and specifically asks his parents and sister not to go upstairs. There's a baby gate so the kids can't get upstairs either. Well, guess who had to go to the bathroom and got covered in glitter and had it all over their hands and hair? She completely lost it and started screaming at me, so I yelled back and now my husband is saying I went too far. Apparently her car is ruined now too because it's covered in glitter that she can't get cleaned up. I will be ordering some cellulose glitter that is biodegradable and safer for future projects. And if she comes over again I will set up a camera. Or at least print out some fun fake documents so if she snoops again she can at least find something interesting.